Welcome to the Beautiful Step Podcast,
where we
run,
stomp,
tiptoe,
and tango into the confusing
but beautiful
world of togetherness. We are your hosts, Kris
and Charity.
Now, let's go make our together even better. I know. Nice shirt.
It is a nice shirt. I like it.
You got it for me.
It's got that cool polyester color.
Yeah, it's vintage again yet.
Mm-hmm.
So we were talking.
Wait, well, our beautiful granddaughter is doing cheerleading. She's 8. And so she got invited to this travel team.
She has a high pony.
Oh, yes. The high tight pony is so cute.
Emery is so adorable.
She's awesome.
Here's what struck me about her. Can I just say? Okay,
yes.
Enough. All right.
Okay.
About how, because we could go on for a month.
She's
She's
cute.
Absolutely precious.
Mm-hmm.
But I got talking to you about it today. I'm like, okay, so you have to understand her parents. Mm-hmm. Jesse, man's man. You know, we're drinking beer. We're working on Chevys.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Crystal. I love to golf with Crystal. Let's go snowboarding with Crystal. Let's play some music. You know, the last thing that Crystal is really super sort of worried about is like girly things. I mean, she's absolutely a woman. She's absolutely feminine.
Beautiful.
All of that, but she's not necessarily like.
She's always been a tomboy. Like
she's not going to go out and buy a ball gown and be like, "Oh my God, this is the best thing." I can't believe.
Yeah. She's
I'm
not wearing.
Just looking for a place to wear this.
She's not wearing the high pony.
Right, and so what's so interesting, is so crazy, is Emery is the girliest of girls.
Couldn't be more girly.
I want to be a cheerleader for the rest of my life.
She wanted fake nails at age 4, like, you know.
Absolutely, presh.
Yeah, she is so girly.
Love her.
So she couldn't be farther from that of her mom or her dad. Like, neither of them care about that stuff.
And there's no way you can change that about her.
No, born that way.
She is like from birth girly,
Mm-hmm.
and you can tell she's going to be a girl.
Yeah,
like
which will be an interesting thing.
A princess.
We'll be taking her shopping for prom dresses, probably.
It's my dream
because you love that stuff.
Oh, I love it.
Like our daughter, you know.
Again, like our daughter, I'm like, please let me take you out to do, you know, these kinds of, and she just, you know, she would definitely be much more apt to go to an art show, thrift shop, handmade, something like this.
Than Nordstrom.
Yeah, than Nordstrom's, like, you know, girly diva girly.
I remember you trying to take her through Nordstrom as a girl and like, please, anything out of this free people section. Like, oh, what about this dress? And she was just not having any of it. Not into it.
So frustrating. I was like, we can go for ice cream after. We'll do anything you want. I want to reward you just for buying something from Nordstrom. And it was like, no. Nope. Rather have a handmade knit thing or something, or, you know, like, okay. Well, I guess she was way cooler than me, right?
Oh,
like,
well,
that's just so cool.
She might have got that from me.
Yeah.
But I think the funny thing is what you're saying about Emery is like your kids sometimes, you know, you look at all your kids and you're like, how did each of them have elements of you where you're like, okay, I understand that they get that from me. And then there's elements where you're like, I don't know where they got that from.
Age old thing. There's nature. And there's nurture.
Totally.
There's stuff that you can't change about your kid.
Yep.
And then there's stuff that you have imparted to them.
Totally.
I call it marking. You leave marks on your kid.
You do. But so...
There's DNA marks, and then there's like just nurture marks.
Totally.
Good ones and bad ones.
Yeah, nurture marks. That's good.
Like
so have you ever heard of this technology called CRISPR?
Okay. Wait, CRISPR, Good Doctor episode 13,
yes,
where a guy
it was on Good Doctor.
It was on Good Doctor, and he was messing with his genome.
Sure, right. So we had to study it in school, kind of the ethics of it, and basically, you know how your DNA has like that strand. It's like a long chain that it makes up, and all the components of it are making up who you are.
Isn't it the DNA spiral or something?
Yeah, it's like
got it. We all know
your eyes, the ladder, your eye color,
Yeah.
but also like the diseases you might have, or all these kind of
It's
things.
your genome.
Well, CRISPR technology goes in and it says, okay, here's the part of Chris's DNA that has a propensity for cancer. And so we're going to actually remove that DNA and we're going to put in a substitute thing in there that replicates itself. And so to get rid of that predisposition for cancer. They also can do it for like, you know, major diseases that are like inherited, that don't come on with other things. So this technology is really cool because it can cure things. I mean, even in utero.
Yeah. But Good Doctor, the guy died. Or no, he was eternally sick.
Yeah.
So it's not good
Well,
because I already know. I saw the show.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You don't mess with your genome.
Well, some people would argue with you. Some people would say that it's going to save a lot of lives, but then there's lots of ethical questions behind it. But we're not going to get into that. The whole point is like you have marks and things that you've imprinted on your kids, like you're saying in DNA.
I DNA passed down this. I apologize publicly because every time I see a zit, or every time I saw a zit, because they've kind of gone past that stage growing up, I just started apologizing.
Oh, on your kids? Is it on your kids?
I'm sorry. Yeah. If I saw a zit on one of my children, I just basically got on my knees in tears and was like, "That's my genome. That's my genome coming across." I'm so sorry because you have had this China doll porcelain, little peach fuzz cheeks, perfect complexion your whole life, and I walk in just Gollum, like pizza all over my back, like pock marks, full on disgusting. Like it was like, don't look at me. You know what I mean? Like
stop.
It was bad. Okay?
Yeah, you struggled with that.
It was really bad. And when I started seeing this on my children, I was like, all I could do is apologize. I just feel so bad. I'm like, no. So can I do another public announcement just quickly? If your kids have really actually severe acne, Accutane.
Accutane all the way.
Accutane. Super dangerous, high-powered drug that if you don't care about the poisonous side effects, it'll make you crystal clear, baby. I got on it and it changed everything.
It changed all of our.
It was awesome.
Our kids took it. It was amazing.
That was probably bad advice because it's dangerous. It's kind of dangerous. You have to have blood draws and.
Yeah, but hey, it worked.
It worked.
So
okay, sorry, go.
So you have this thing that you inherited, and like you're saying, like you apologize for the stuff we pass on.
Yeah.
I was thinking about, and there's all sorts of physical traits that I passed on, and I'm like, so sorry about that. But like big boobs.
You saw me look at your boobs just then.
Yeah.
Our daughter doesn't have big boobs. I was wondering if
she inherited your side.
My sister's boobs. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, my mom.
Your mom's boobs. Yeah.
Okay. So that would be
no
weird.
boobs on your side. Big boobs on my side. And
you
Olivia
all have giant boobies
on my dad's side. Yeah.
Did you kind of want your daughter to have big boobs?
No, they're a curse.
Were you so glad?
They're a curse from the pit of hell.
They are.
Mm-hmm.
Because they just. Can we talk? Do you want to talk about boobs for a little while?
No.
I think I can't imagine having boobs. That'd be so
fun. Fun for you? Well, they're not that fun.
Well, you always say you would be like, "What are you doing with your testicles?" Because that is so crazy to me that you would have that thing in between your legs all the time. And I'm like, same thing with boobs. Same exact thing with boobs.
Yeah, maybe.
Guys don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, okay. So anyway, they inherit your stuff, your physical, things, your mannerisms. They inherit this. You have these imprints, but then there's also these psychological imprints we give our kids, and that's what kind of studying that CRISPR technology made me think about, like all the ways. Like I wish I could go back and like go, oh, I imprinted this to you. I wonder if this technology could come and remove that piece of bad counsel I gave you, or just, like counsel? the bad momming of what I did there. Could we remove that and replace it with something?
That horrible advice, like CRISPR them up in a
totally.
Yes.
Could I take off those imprints and mark them up a different way?
We need some CRISPR out here.
Yeah. But the funny thing is when you're first raising your kids, right, you think you know what you're doing. Oh. Well, you have that panic, I don't know what I'm doing. But then as you're raising your kids, you always think you know what you're doing. And it's like, you never know. And you're making it up. And then they get older and then you're like, oh, I really didn't know. And you're having to apologize for stuff.
Okay, give me an example. Go.
So I was thinking about like the way we look at food, the way I've looked at food my whole life. What that was imprinted on me.
It's a popular topic. A lot of people talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was imprinted on me that like food was this thing that you used. It was the end all be all. It regulated emotions. Like if you're celebrating, you're using food. If you're mourning, you're using
something
food.
Good happens, let's eat. Something bad happens, let's eat.
Yeah.
You're worried, let's eat.
Right.
You're bored, we should eat. Like,
right.
It's just eat.
And we weren't really educated about food, so it was like we didn't know about the nutritional value so much about food. It was like, well, we knew to eat veggies and things like that, but honestly, we didn't really know a lot. So we were just eating what we thought. And so the concentration was about food and not necessarily about nutrition.
Right.
food was kind of the end.
So you're
be all.
saying, did you end up? This is a bad thing that you CRISPR'd your kids into?
Well, no, I think there are some really positive things. I always cooked for our kids. Like we ate dinner together, which I still think is a fantastic tradition. I'm not moralizing and saying like it's the right thing to do.
Everyone's going to tell you, whether it's social, psychological, emotional, religious, all of it, they're going to tell you eat with somebody because it's a huge, vulnerable, connective moment in people's lives.
Super intimate.
Yes. So yes, eat together. That is good.
Breaking bread.
Right. Breaking bread.
Not breaking bed. Earlier I said breaking bed.
Breaking
bed. I don't think you should promote breaking bed.
I think you should promote breaking bed because breaking bed while breaking bread can get crazy at lunchtime.
Oh my!
You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so with your family, like the whole concept of eating together, being together, having that set aside time just to be together, I think is valuable.
Yes.
So I learned that was part of what
those are good.
Imprinted to me. That's the
really good CRISPR,
side. And it was also used as an attraction tool. Like food was always in my home so that kids came over. So it had lots of great sides to it. The shadow side, of course, to every great gift is that there's a shadow side. And so the shadow side to me is like I always associated food with that's what you use to celebrate. That's what you use to mourn.
Right.
That's what you use to console yourself.
That's what you use to get what you want out of your kids too.
Yeah, you bribe them with ice cream or something else.
Absolutely.
And so that has a bad side because it's like, really, should food bear that much?
Well, it goes into this whole thing of like, and I think this is a discovery that psychologists and, whatever foodologists are, I don't know what they're called, but they're
nutritionists. Dietitians.
Man, go ahead, girl.
Ah.
You must have a PhD or something. Okay. But they're saying the moralization of food is kind of where you go wrong.
Yes.
I was good today. I was bad today. And you start to do that whole thing in that's like, wait, time out.
Right.
It's not a moral thing.
Right. Well,
it's
it can be. It can be for people. They will do that.
Yeah. For people, they're doing that. And, one of the 7 deadly sins is gluttony. Mm-hmm. Right. And so, but that has way more to do with like desire and giving into it and all that stuff than it does with the food itself.
Yeah. But so when we raise the kids, it's like I thought the way that I was feeding them and everything was good and healthy. And what most importantly, I thought it was right. I thought the way I did things was right.
Right. And the other thing is I want to bring this in is we were cool parents. Because you have Lucky Charms at our house, you could have Frosted Flakes at our house, you could have all the ice cream,
even the fact that you called it cool connotates the fact that somebody who doesn't let their kids do that was the uncool parent.
Oh, yeah.
If you could only eat shredded wheat at their house, uncool.
So lame.
Well,
what kind of asshole parent?
No. See, this
not
is exactly
give
what I'm
their kid
talking about.
McDonald's once in a
Do
while.
not listen to him. That's not true.
And have ice cream and
Stop. This is the kind of
sweet
judgment.
tarts. I introduce my kids to nerds and
Okay,
sweet
yeah.
Okay.
And the people that have healthy children who really focused on nutrition probably are looking at you and hearing things like that and being like, you're killing your kids.
They're judging me.
They're killing.
Don't judge me.
You were just judging
I'm
them.
living my truth. I know. Isn't that so sad? I'm judging them totally. I was like, you're an asshole. They're probably like, well, you're going to kill someone.
You're killing your kids. I mean, so I think both sides, I had friends who were really healthy and health conscious. And then there was me and I judged, they judged. Like, even if you don't really consider it judging, there's this thing going on. There's this moralization of everything and we're all learning. But what I was getting at is that we're passing that along to our kids.
Right.
This thought on.
Okay, wait. Bottom line. Junk food.
Mm-hmm.
Good or bad?
Well, what?
Come on, let's go. You want to, I want you, I'm going to confront you right now. When it comes to, because you have grandbabies and you have grandbabies that are coming at some point.
Yeah.
Junk food, good or bad, go.
Well, you know that I give them junk food if they want candy and stuff. I am the grandma that buys that stuff.
Bad person. There's people listening to this podcast that just shut us off.
I know. And if for them, they probably shouldn't do that. And probably there's things I really need to rein in about what I'm giving my grandbabies, honestly.
Yeah, I know, because they're going to get
diabetes at age 4 or something.
So
no.
sad. But here's the thing. You're right. Coming up, there's things that you mark your kids with. And here's one of the popular pieces of popular vernacular. Live your truth.
Right.
So there's this idea that because you were raised a certain way to, have food go this way for you and you use it for this, right? That's sort of your truth. That's true to you.
Sure.
And you can't really help but not live that truth. And so there's this also, it's like live your truth until you're educated, or live your truth until you realize, oh, that's a lie. Or
right.
Like live your truth until you go, I don't know if that truth is actually getting me anywhere.
Yes. And I would look at it like, I totally hear you. And I would say like, it's kind of like, I view them like principles. Like, well, I had all these principles and now I'm like, wait, is that principle? Should that be a principle in my life going forward? And then
right. One of my biggest revelations was if you want to change your position, whether it's, on food or whatever, or, in whatever it is, professional, whatever. If you want to change your position, you have to change your principles.
Yes.
Because the principles you're living by right now are keeping you in that position.
Yes, they're not going to get you to where you need to go now.
Right. So you have to change your principles. You have to change your truths sometimes, right?
And you do that as you get more educated. And like now, well, we ate the way that we knew how to eat because we didn't know actually what good nutrition was.
Living
like
our
we
truth.
didn't understand all the dynamics. And now people are more educated than ever about food and what's good for you and not good for you. But then that changes all the time too. But we're having to change that stuff. And there's things.
And it takes a long time. That's why I was trying to nail you down. Junk food, good or bad? Because I knew you would say it's kind of good. Like, I mean, it's kind of like
deep down, it's kind of good.
I'm a grandma, all right, and this is the truth for a grandma.
Well, even we were just with our kids all weekend, and it's like the thing that I'm going to bring to the table every time is tons of food wherever we're going.
Way too much.
We're going to go out and we're going to have food. In fact, I bought so much food. It's like what we were clearing out of the Airbnb was just tons of food to leave at our son and his wife's house because.
And they're living in LA, and both of them combined weigh 100 pounds. I'm like, God, they're not even going to eat this.
I know they're not even going to eat the food I bought. Bad. Because that's the way I show my love is like food. That's was one of the principles I live by. But I'm realizing now that like probably I should tweak that principle. Probably I should figure out other ways to show love besides just food.
That'd be a fun challenge. It'd be a fun challenge. It'd be a really cool way for you to sort of go through some self-discovery stuff.
Yeah.
But there's a piece of me that would be bummed if you didn't make soup.
Well, sure.
So I'm just saying, like, I love what you said. You were like, there's a good side, but then there's always this really dark shadow. Yeah. Right? There's this piece of it that's like, that doesn't work anymore.
Right.
You have to change that.
Yeah. The other thing that I think, as it kind of corresponds with food, the other thing I feel like I imprinted on my kids, like, to sum up the food imprint, I feel like I made too big of a deal about using food as a reward or those kind of things. And I wish I could kind of take that back and honor nutrition.
Okay.
So that they would have that imprint to like.
Well, it comes down to the body.
Sure. Yes. It comes down to the body. I think I didn't pass along the honoring of the body in so many ways.
Right.
I was
so okay.
I grew up afraid of the body. Can I just say, like, I was afraid of the body. You went to like a normal.
I was raised by my mom was so hippie about her body, like, and the body itself. When I was little, there was a coffee table book, and my sister will attest to this. I think it was called "You and Your Body" or "The Human Body" or something like that. And you open it up, and the best part was that there was naked people in it. Mm-hmm. Like you saw full on beef and boobs. And junk. And it was like, and it wasn't sexual in any way. It was like this, like you could see from embryo through adolescence and everything, pubic hair and all that, and it was like, and it was just like a woman standing there. Yeah. Right. And you're like, oh, whoa, and so my mom was like that. I mean, I remember.
She probably got that from the health class because your mom was a principal. So like,
in the school system and stuff. And I remember, I was well into high school and I was still like, my mom would be in the bathtub and I'd be walking in just having conversations.
Yeah, it was. I thought that was so weird when I first met you. Full on
hippie about the body. We just had this very neutral. Like I remember seeing my sister's boobs all the time and stuff like that, and even her girlfriends would come over and they would have bras on or boobs out, and it wasn't. It just was a different world to me. Maybe it was because it was like the 80s.
Well, and you were raised around only girls.
I was raised around only girls, and I was a very safe young. Because I was always younger than all the girls because I was an older sister. Sure. And so it was always this little, the little guy walking around getting to see tons of tits.
Not really old enough to fully appreciate it.
No. Yeah, that's the problem. It's like, I couldn't even appreciate it. I was too young.
No, but I think I was raised the total opposite in the sense that like I went to a school where health education, like sex education was completely up to parents to teach. That was not taught in schools. In fact,
Wow.
you were really, what was taught is be afraid of your desires, be afraid of your body, be afraid of what it can do.
Yeah, and my thing was like, you're going to show up with these desires. They're just going to kind of come onto your inner universe, and you get choices then.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, and it was fully like you get choices then. Like, you know, are you gay? Are you straight? Should you masturbate? Should you look at porn? Like, it was. You have these choices, which is totally different than your world.
No, my world was like, you just completely deny. You deny kind of that you have a body.
God.
You deny that you have a body. I think in so many ways. It's even the nutrition. I think in the way I grew up, like, you just deny that it's a big deal. You just don't make a big deal about your body. You don't make a big deal about anything about it. You don't accentuate it. You don't. It's just not a thing. It's like totally covered up. And so.
That's such a great way of saying it. It's covered up. It's covered up not only like, because I just had like that whole like denim skirt head covering.
Okay, we were not that.
But seriously, but that's what you're doing emotionally.
Right, yeah.
You're covering all that stuff and pretending.
Fear. There's this fear.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, there's a fear of what you will do, what you could do, the fear of what you'll do to other people. I mean, that whole stupid purity culture where it's like, don't wear that because all the boys around you are going to want to.
Oh my goodness. I remember listening. Okay. Because we have come from a Christian background, we get to slam on it a little bit. Okay. But I remember listening to a very prominent pastor, and I'll save his name for somewhere else.
Oh.
Was listening, and he justified why women shouldn't preach.
Oh my God.
And he was like, it didn't matter if she was wearing a skirt or tight pants or whatever. Basically, all the males in the audience won't be able to hear her sermon because they're going to be so transfixed on her, like, vajayjay and her boobs. And I'm like, speak for yourself, dude. Are you kidding me? Really? Because if you come from a background like me, it's like, duh, she's got boobs.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I've seen lots of boobs, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just this weird, like, really?
It's a whole thing, that purity culture. Well, it actually happened to me. I remember when we were first kind of newly married, and I was preaching at a small church, and I wore like a pant or a skirt suit, and it was like down to my knees or whatever, like a normal skirt suit. And I remember a guy came up to me afterwards and said, that was a really good sermon. Next time when you preach, do you think that you could wear some pants? Because I don't think it's appropriate that, we should see your bare legs.
Who is he? Where's he at? What's his name?
So that's
me and my boys got this guy.
It's a real thing, like that whole culture. But I guess what I'm getting at is what I imprinted on our kids from my standpoint was I think we were more relaxed as a family. Like our kids walked around in their underwear and like they could fart around each other and things that didn't really happen in my home. But
weird. How can you not fart? You guys are so weird.
But I think the thing that I didn't imprint is that to honor your body and to not be afraid of it. Like to really not be afraid of it. I think I had never actually looked at my, as you say.
Wahuji Yeah.
Until we were married and you made.
Oh my goodness, Charity.
You made me hold up a mirror and you were like, you have to, like, this is insanity, Charity. Like, you don't even know.
I probably held up the mirror and was like, do you have any idea how beautiful this is? I'm going to show you around. Come on in. Here we go. I've got a lot of work to do.
My point is that I didn't that was not.
See, that's so sad. I think it's sad.
I do think it, and that's kind of goes back to what I'm getting at is that imprint we pass on to our kids. And I think I didn't do a good enough job of teaching our kids to really honor their bodies and to appreciate them and not to be afraid of them.
Okay. So hold on, because let's just go super raw. I'm going to go super raw. So.
Oh, geez.
Why don't I?
Okay.
I would just say here's what I would say to my boys, because I think with Olivia, it's just too awkward.
Right. Yeah, I got that.
I'm not going to go. But with my boys, I think the thing I would change is I would still say, dude, don't look at porn.
Ruin your brain.
Ruin your soul. Like, it makes you dangerous. Like, all the serial killers started on porn, okay? So,
well, I don't know that it makes you a serial killer.
No, it
in
doesn't.
all people, but there are lots of scientific studies on how it rewires your brain, and you have a really hard time sexually.
Yeah. And as soon as you have a daughter, as soon as you have a son, you start to go like, oh, these are these are my children on here. Like, no, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
yeah.
what if my kid, you know?
Right.
And so for all of those empathetic reasons,
Mm-hmm.
I would say, dude, there's so much more tied up in porn that, I mean,
Yes.
spiritually and socially and physically, you know, and the money and
Mhm.
the, you know, the back end of that thing
Yep.
is just like killing people, like on and on. The trafficking,
Yep.
yuck. Stay away from it. Like
Yeah.
public service announcement. If you're on it, just get off, right?
Yep.
Anyway, and I did say this to my kids. I would much rather you have sex with a girl than look at porn or watch porn. I remember saying that even as a conservative sort of Christian, you know,
Abstinence guy. Yeah.
abstinence guy,
Yeah.
like wait till you're married like we did kind of thing, you know. But if you're gonna, don't, you know, I would rather have you. So, but there's this weird thing of, because I always told, you know, there was always this implication that masturbation was bad.
Yeah, for sure. No, we told them it was bad.
It was bad. Like, and now I look back on them, and I think between you and I would have conversations like, are you kidding me? Like, there's no way that my boys aren't going to masturbate. Do you have any idea the blinding?
I totally thought that it was possible though, because I was raised in this really naive world where it was like, well,
Such
of course.
bullshit. They're like, are you kidding me? They're all masturbating.
But they're saying they're not. I mean, that's the thing is like they're saying
It's
they're
such
not.
horse
They're
feathers.
saying be afraid of it and all those other kind of things.
And that's what I'm saying. I think with my boys now, that would not be the implication.
Yeah.
Now, I wouldn't say to them like, dude, try to, you know, masturbate as many times as you can during a day. But I would say like, look, man, it's showing up on your radar. It's going to be blinding. Like, there's no way you cannot, like, you know, it's just part of the human experience. And it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And you have to get to know your body.
Well, I think that's what I would say is like, just don't be afraid of it. Like I don't be afraid of your body. Like quit.
And before I had that talk with my boys, I would have consulted you and you would have told me that. And I would have thought, okay, nailed it. That's the line I'm using. Just don't be afraid of it. Because it's true. That's such a great piece of advice.
I think what I did wrong, the imprint that I did wrong, that I'm looking, and man, 10 years from now, I could totally change my mind. But right now,
as it is now,
I'm wishing I could take out that part where I passed along to them. If they caught it, if they didn't catch it, I hope they didn't catch it. But if they caught it, that whole like be afraid of your body, be afraid of like who you are sexually, be afraid of like what your body's capable of doing to you and to other people. Like I would take that out and I would replace it with this kind of like more free thing of like, man, your body's a beautiful thing. You should just honor it. You should honor it in your nutrition. You should honor it in your sexuality. You should honor it. Like you should really honor it and you should honor other people in it and quit making it a thing that's like evil or not evil. Because actually you were created in this beautiful image and you should love that and nurture that and not be afraid. And that's the imprint I wish I would have given there.
I know. I love what you're saying. And I think for me too, if I could go back, which we can't. I mean, you can if you know how to CRISPR really good, but I don't know. I can't CRISPR this yet, but I would go back and I would take out words like fat,
Yeah,
or lazy,
yeah,
and stuff like that. Like, and even
not that you walked around calling any of our kids
never,
fat,
but I would direct myself. I'd be like, I'm gonna get my fat ass off this couch,
right?
And it's this like kind of like elbow nudge to your kids, like, yeah, you should take on that attitude too. Like, yeah, you're turning into a fat jerk. You know what I mean? Like, and it's like, I know that I would go back and not do that again because that's just all that shame stuff, right?
Totally. Yeah, and that fear, like
the fear of it.
It's the fear and the shame and like and the shame for the body too. If I could take out those two things and just say, man, let's get rid of the fear and the shame of the way we're created and the body and the way we view food. And man, can we get rid of the fear and the shame that we cast on other people at the same time? Can we get rid of like the judgment that says like how you're raising your kids or what you're doing with those things? Because the reality is we're all very accommodating for people who think like us.
Right.
If you consume the same things I do, then, you know, it makes total sense why you're doing what you're doing. But if you don't, then I have a judgment about it. And it's like, can we just stop doing that?
Yeah, time out.
And then realize that we're passing those things on to our kids.
Right. And not only that, but everyone gets their opportunity to live their truth. And then they get educated and they realize, oh, that's not actually true. Or they realize, oh, that was a lie.
Or have a life experience.
And now I get a CRISPR something in here.
Yep.
And we're going to change this.
Yep.
Right. So bottom line. I'm asking. Bottom line, do you like your body?
I do like my body. Yeah.
Really?
I really I'm appreciative of my body now that I'm old.
Why are you dieting?
Because I wanted, actually, for the first time, I want to be healthy. Actually healthy.
That's awesome.
It is awesome.
I know. I vacillate. I think to myself, I weigh 177 pounds. Sometimes I can get down to 174.
Mm-hmm.
I love it when I'm 165 to 170.
Okay.
And I'm like,
but these are just your own made up
these are
things.
my little things.
This is your own.
But
this is
dude,
not an actual
But think about this, Chair.
condition of health.
But think about it. I can get so down on myself for that 6 pounds or whatever, where I'm like, you know what I mean? I get oh, and I'm like, time out. Actually, hold on. I'm nearly 50 and I'm looking pretty darn good.
You're looking awesome.
And,
Sexy.
I'm not necessarily in the best shape of my life, but I think if I changed that, if I CRISPR'd in a little bit of that, look, I'm just actually going to be I like my body.
Yeah. And
I love it.
And I want to honor it, and I want to move, and I want to make it better, and all of those things.
Yeah. And I think there's that piece of, back to the sex talk, because everyone wants to talk about sex all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that it's...
or maybe just you do.
But I think there's something about that. The biggest revelation I think I've had at 50 or close, 49. You keep reminding me I'm not 50.
You're not 50 yet.
Is this idea of my sexual self is going to go away.
Mm.
It's not going to last forever.
Right.
Your libido sort of just slows down, and then you can artificially prop it up if you want to. But at some point, you're just there's not light at the end of the tunnel. It's road closure.
Thank the Lord it slowed down a little bit. I mean, you were a little hard to keep up with, as a lot
You're a
of people
champion.
are.
I just want to give you a public shout out. You are a champion. But I will say this, that it makes me want to continue to celebrate my body in a very healthy sexual way.
Yeah.
With you.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's such a good thing, because I see people messing with that.
Mm.
Whether it's, and this is controversial, but whether it's a person who's trying to maybe castrate themselves or something, or it's a person who's just continually denying their sexual selves. I'm like, once nature starts to mess with your libido, you're going to start to get really appreciative of having sexual desire and sexual urge. Because once it slows down and it's taken away, it's man, you're going to look back and go, golly,
right.
That was something really precious and beautiful about my body that I really didn't honor.
Yeah.
That I just didn't show up for.
Yeah.
And I kept pretending like it wasn't there.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be a relief when it's gone. You're going to be sad. And so that's what I feel is from an older guy's perspective.
Sure.
I think that's a really important thing.
Yeah. And everybody has things that they're kind of coming into their own truths about. I mean,
Absolutely.
I think
that's my truth right now.
Yeah. I think for somebody that always knew they were gay to be able to come out,
exactly.
There's this principle that their whole life has had, and they need to be able to have that chance to CRISPR things and to change the principles that they live by.
That's such a big deal.
So all that to say, if I could change something about what I passed along, what I imprinted, is just that I would have provided more freedom and more an acknowledgement that we just need to honor instead of confining our view on food and our bodies and all those things. I would have given that more freedom.
Yeah, I think for me, I appreciate so many things that we CRISPR'd into we didn't CRISPR anything, but DNA handed down to our kids. I love that they're creative. I love that they're compassionate. And I think some of that stuff is DNA wise, but it's also, a lot of, nurture wise and stuff. And I think that's really good. But I do feel like there is a piece of me that if I could go back, right, I would the same thing. And it comes down to this one statement is, I don't think I would overreact as bad.
Oh my goodness. No.
I think that's the piece. I would be much more level-headed, and not everything wouldn't be the end of the world. Yes. And I think that's probably
actually, I think if I could rephrase that, I think if I were to go back and be the perfect mom, nothing would be the end of the world.
Nothing would be the end of the world. And then what I would do is I would have the self-awareness to start applying that to myself.
Yes. Totally.
This is not the end of the world. These 6 pounds are not the end of the world.
Yes.
You know, this fight you're having with your wife right now is not the end of the world. You know, you moving to another home, even though it's difficult, it's not the end of the world. Like, that's, I think, you know.
And love and honor what you do have.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Cherish those things.
Yeah.
It's good.
Let's go look up CRISPR and see if we can change some stuff. Want to? I love you so much.
Love you.
Wait, babe, wait. How do we end this?
By saying thank you.
Okay, you guys are awesome. Thank you. There's nothing more encouraging than you hitting that like button and commenting.
And don't forget to subscribe.
And I know there's more. You have a list. Might as well go down the list.
Right. Okay. Watch the video of this podcast on our Beautiful Step YouTube channel or on our website where you can actually download transcripts and show notes of the episode. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram.
If today's episode made your together even better, tell someone.
Okay, now.
Right now.
Today.
Okay.
You can take one step.
It's just one step.
Toward the beautiful relationship you want in your life.
You got this.